Ladies and gentlemen, peace, democracy, and freedom are indeed at stake and challenged in today's world. And few know it better than my country, Georgia. Exactly 103 years ago, on February 19, 1921, a young girl, Zourabichvili, got killed while resisting the advance of the 11th Russian army invading Georgia, just 9 months after the signature of a treaty between Russia and independent Georgia, recognizing the latter's sovereignty. The ink had not dried, and Russian troops were on the move. The country they were invading was a sovereign one and a democratic model, with a constitution that was well in advance on its time, and where, for instance, the rights of women to elect and be elected were duly recognized. Democracy and freedom were then suppressed. Came the time of terror and repression. The occupation lasted for 70 years, 70 long years, destroying the intellectual and cultural elite, trying, but in vain, to eradicate the quest for freedom and for independence. The second Russian aggression took place almost immediately after the end of the Soviet Russia and following this disparition of the Soviet Union. It resulted in a de facto occupation of parts of my country, misrepresented as frozen conflicts. It lasted for 17 years. The third invasion in 2008 opened for Russia the way to consolidate its occupation and the Russification of the occupied territories. A similar history can be told for Ukraine, for Moldova. Almost every Russia's neighbor, including the now disappeared small Caucasian states and languages, know in their flesh and blood what it means to be neighbor to a country that doesn't know its borders, that does not recognize or respect the other's sovereignty or independence or freedom, and does not recognize the value above everything else of human life and dignity. And that is what democracy is about. Not it is because it is per se necessarily a better political system. We know that democracy requires independent institutions, impartial justice, balance of powers, respect for minorities, and we are striving to achieve that. But above all, it requires, and all of the above are only means to achieve the essential, to secure what is the core, the inextinguishable, the undefeatable treasure that we all have in common, the human life, the human dignity, and the human freedom. That is what the Ukrainians today, for us all, are fiercely defending. That is what I am convinced we would all stand for if and when confronted to the threat of erasing humanity. That is what Zourabichvili did on that very day and died for. Human life and dignity is our shared value. Despite all challenges, old and new, that threaten us. That is what this Forum and Cinema for Peace stand for. That is all those people that have today received awards stand for. That is what the Pope Francis stands for and has a duty to stand for, that he shares with the Patriarch of Georgia and with all the religious leaders around the world. I also believe that for us political leaders, Annalena, these represent the highest value to defend. We are all elected not to represent specific interests, not to exercise ever more power, but to defend the rights and dignity of our people, their freedom and their uniqueness. Thank you all.